Hey y'all, what is going on? This is Jesse Both from the 19th hole, and I've got the pro playthrough for the current third anniversary tournament. What you'll see in this video is me playing the qualification rounds here and just kind of practicing these holes. I'm going to show you some different ways to play them. Hopefully you can take this information, apply it to your game, and help improve your round in qualification and maybe even opening round. The purpose of this video is definitely to give you ideas and for you to take this information and then tweak it to make it better. So we're going to start with hole number 1, par 3. This one right here we've seen many times. We'll play this one at plus 10%, and we'll play with a katana and a sniper. We're going to play with max right spin and 1 top spin on this particular shot. And there are probably a few other versions of this shot as far as where this one will land, but the way we're going to play this one is with our white ring to the left touching the rough. Another good thing to look at is on the right side of the white ring, look at that little shadow just kind of going into the ring. That's another kind of aim point that you can look at. Left rough, and then that little shadow finger kind of pointing into the white ring. Plus 10% max adjustment here for the shot. We're going to go with a little bit of curl, ball just to the edge of the white circle, as you could see. And that one's going to come in nicely. And it's going to roll. It's not going to quite get enough roll up that hill. If we had gone maybe another like quarter of a square up that hill, we'd had a really good chance there at the ace. You got to be very careful though, because if you go too far up that hill, then your ball is going to filter actually away to the other side of the hole. So it's a very fine line on what you can do adjustment wise. You would just think to yourself, oh, I'll just add a little bit more topspin. But then that definitely changes the shot. So it's all about getting the good bounce and hopefully get the good roll. So we're playing the same shot again. This time we are playing it with just a tiny bit more topspin, just to see if that works. And we actually have a little bit lower level of a sniper, so that's why the plus yardage is different on the shot. We didn't go with quite as much curl this time. I really think that, with that shot right there, if we had gone with the same amount of curl that we used last time, we'd have had a really good chance of dropping this one. As you see, it comes in just short of the hole. So if we had gone with our normal curl like we did on the first attempt with that tiny bit of extra topspin, we would have had a really good chance to drop that one, I think. All right, we got hole 2 here. Par 4. I'm actually going to show you 3 different ways to play this hole. The first of which is going to be a curl shot to the right with the extra mile 8. I definitely would recommend using a ball with 3 side spin, a kingmaker or a katana. If you don't want to use those, I would definitely hope that you have a driver, with a good amount of curl to be able to make this shot. So we're going to have our red ring halfway into the rough line. We're going to adjust for our wind at plus 10%. And then we're going to make our shot. We are going to use a curl, just under 1 ball of curl right there. And we do hit great right. But the good news is, looks like this shot's great proof, y'all. So we get the good roll out, and we still achieve a good drive, and we get to a pretty good yardage. And we should have a really good second shot look at the hole. So we're playing this one with a sniper, plus 10%. And the first thing I always do, find your min, then find your max. And on this hole, I like to play in mid or min of my club. So this time it looks like it'll be mid. Go with max left spin, and then we're going to go with back spin to the point where we're coming in just near the hole. With a left to right side wind, we do want to play this one offset just left of the hole. And then we'll play this one at mid distance, make our adjustment at plus 10%. And we hit this one perfect. This one is going to come in very close. And if we had offset this one just a tad more to the left, we would have got the drop on this one. So maybe play this one at a cup offset to the left instead of just left edge of the hole. All right, so this time I'm going to show you a power curl shot with the Thor. And with Thor 5, we know it's a 15 ring power curl adjustment. So we're going to add our wind rings onto that 15, and then we're going to make our shot. We're going with top spin and then left spin, because we wanted this ball bounces. We want it to actually bounce left. over that bunker. Otherwise, then we might have to deal with the rough on the right-hand side. So the only thing that I would do differently on this shot right here is I would just like take a tad bit of the overpower off, because as you're going to see, we come in, we land right there on the edge, and if we had taken a little bit of that overpower off, then we would have had a little bit more clearance on that drive. It still worked out great. It still puts us in long iron range towards the hole. So pull out your accuracy long iron and give that one a run if that's the way you end up playing that one. And I would probably play 0% for my second shot from that location, because you will be landing your shot up there and around the green. All right, playing it to the left-hand side, plus 10%, max top and right spin. We're going with a little bit of overpower here. We're trying to get ourselves up into sniper range. I did have a lower level extra mile here, so if you have a higher level extra mile, you probably would not need the overpower that I used. But, 373 is where we are, and that's a good distance here. It's going to put us right there at min level sniper, which is perfect. So we check and see that we have the room to make our adjustment, and we have that room to make our adjustment. I play this one at 0%, and we're going to aim right off the left edge of the cup here with that left to right wind, and then we're going to make our adjustment. 0% min adjustment with our sniper, which ended up being like right around about 6 rings. We hit this one perfect, and you're going to see this one come in very nicely. It hits perfectly on the rough, and it rolls in just missing the eagle. So, maybe aim just a little bit more left of that hole and get that one to drop. All right, we got hole 3 here, par 5, and this one right here is going to be Big Topper and Berserker. I play this one at plus 10% for the elevation. Some people play at 20% to give themselves a little bit extra room on the adjustment, but I've always, 10% works for this shot here. With the Big Topper, you really don't have to worry about overpowering and hitting that rough. So we are going to make our adjustment, max top, 1 left spin. Definitely don't go too much left spin, because then you start taking away from your top spin. You don't want to do that. We push our shot back up after we make our adjustment for the wind, and as you can see, I'm going full overpower, a slight bit of left curl, just to kind of offset that ball guide, just in case I do hit great right. You see we bounce. We still had plenty of room between our bounce location and the rough line, and we roll up the fairway a very nice distance. So at 448, that's going to leave me a beautiful spot for the second shot. Now, if you land farther back, then you're looking at having to overpower the second shot. But with where I'm at right now, I can throw on 5 bars of topspin, and then I can really just place this shot where I want to place it and really go at this pin. The amount of aggressiveness you want to use on this shot, though, is definitely up to you. I would not recommend putting your ball guide, your second bounce, any closer to the edge than we're about where I am, because sometimes I've seen this hole have a tendency for the ball to carry a little bit extra than what it should, and if that second bounce hits fairway on the other end of that rough, then you're going to be in trouble. So we hit the rough and we roll through, and as you can see, there's a good chance that we can drop this shot for the albatross if you get a little bit more aggressive with that shot. But definitely, like I said, be careful. Don't get too close to that rough line edge, because you want that second bounce to hit the rough and not that fairway. Hole 4 here, I'm going to show you 2 different ways. A rough bump and then a shot with the sniper. So the first way I'm going to show you is the rough bump. We're playing both these methods at plus 15%. And with the sniper 9 or 10, you can play this shot. Anything lower, I would definitely hesitate playing this shot just because of the need for the distance in the club. You could technically maybe go up in ball strength to make up for that lack of distance, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with anything other than the 9-10. So plus 15% here, 4.5 top, and then side spin to the hole. I'm going to go with a tiny bit of overpower here because we did push down into the bunker and we did not push up. We're going to go with a little bit of overpower to make up for that. We hit nicely here, and it comes in really nice, really good looking roll, and it's going to come in just to the right edge of the pin. So maybe next time we play this hole, we'll aim it to the left edge of the cup and see if that does anything. So the next way we're playing it is a bounce shot here, right on the edge. I do only have a sniper level 8, so it's going to be really close on this one. If you have a 9 or 10 and you play it this way, then you will have a little bit extra room to work with here. But as you're going to see, the level 8 still is sufficient. So we're going to go with backspin and right spin. We want this ball guide to come in to the right side of the hole to take into account the wind push. You see the yellow ring right there on the edge of the rough line, and then we're going to make our adjustment. And I did a plus 10% max adjustment, plus 15% max adjustment there on that shot. Unfortunately, we hit great right, and as I said, you can see this one come in, barely clips the fairway, but that's just how it's going to be with a level 8 sniper, especially with the power 3 ball. But perfect hit would have been really close, and that's just another way you can play this hole. I think the rough bump's going to be the best chance at the ace, but also, there's definitely a bit of danger when you play that shot as well. All right, so this hole right here, we're playing with the Big Topper Berserker, max top spin, 2 bars of right spin here. We want the red ring halfway cut in the rough when you're on full overpower. You're going to let the target drop back. You're going to adjust for your rings, plus 10%, and then you're going to push the shot back up to max power. So I'm going to use a good amount of curl here, about 1.5 ball, and then I use about 3 rings of overpower on this shot. It's going to come in very nicely here. You're going to see the first bounce, the second bounce, and it's going to roll onto the fairway. So depending on what level Big Topper you use, if you use a lower level Big Topper, you're going to lose distance on the club, so you're going to have to overpower that shot more. Lower level Big Toppers, I don't know that's worth going for that shot, but if you do have a higher level Big Topper, it's definitely the shot to play. So for this one right here, we're playing 0%. I'm finding my min and then my max, and then we're going to figure out where we're playing this shot, and we're going to play this one right about mid distance, max backspin, 1 left spin, ball guide to the hole, level 7 and an up. Thorns, you will see a ball guide to the hole, but anything other than level 7, below 7, the ball guide's not going to be as developed to the hole, so keep that in mind. 0% mid adjustment there on that wind adjustment, and we hit it perfect and we sink it bottom of the cup. So that's the way you play the thorn shot there. Max back, 1 left. Find your club distance, 0% on the elevation. Hole 6, par 5. Here we go. So we're going to be playing this one to the right-hand side. We're going to be playing a quarterback, or if you have a rock, you could use a rock here on this shot as well. And, I would say use whichever of those clubs you have with the best developed ball guide. That's the way I would play this hole. The ball guide is very key because you want to try to get as far up in that fairway as you can, but you definitely want to make sure you don't go into that rough. So with this quarterback, we're playing max right 3 top spin. And we're going to line up our shot along the right-hand edge of the rough line. I put my red ring on the rough line. If you want to be a little bit safer, you could do blue ring on the rough line. You'll just want to use a little bit extra curl on your drive. Plus 10% max adjustment for the wind, and then you see about a 1/4 ball of curl on that shot. It's going to come in nicely here and roll up the fairway, and as you see, we are very safe as far as our distance between our ball and the rough line goes. And you can get, a little bit more risky if you so choose, but you don't absolutely need to. So we've got the Guardian 8 here. I think anything Guardian 7 and up works great for this shot. And I'm trying to use as much backspin as I can here, trying to figure out a way to get that ball guide right behind the hole. Just to keep in mind, you do have the tailwind push, so the ball is actually going to go a little bit farther forward than the ball guide shows. So keep that in mind. So we're playing plus 0% elevation here. We're pushing up our target into OP where we want our bounce, and then we're adjusting back. So you have to start in OP and then adjust back. As you see, I had reconnection issues and I barely got this shot off. Because of it, we did hit great left, but still it's going to be in good position here. Perfect shot would have been pretty close at the hole, but I think I had just maybe 1 bar too much backspin on that shot. Otherwise, it would have been really close with the perfect. But we got the eagle, so we can't complain. Hole 7 here, par 3. We're playing this one with a sniper, and I'm going to be using a navigator ball here, a power 1 ball. So if you have a wind resistance balls like a popcorn ball or anything else that's a power 1 wind resistance ball, then you could use that here on this hole as well. So we're going to be playing about 1 bar, 1.5 backspin here, and just a tiny sliver of left spin. This was my first attempt on this shot. We're playing 20% max adjustment here. Even though it is not max adjustment club, we're still going to play it 20% max. We hit perfect here. It's going to come in nicely, and you know, that bounce right there is not terrible. I would like it to be a little bit closer to the edge of that fringe line, but it's got good speed. We just lack a little bit of movement to the left. So we're going to try this one again here. Instead of just a sliver of left spin, we're going to go with 1/2 a bar of left spin. So 1.5 backspin, 1/2 a bar left spin, and this is how you dial in shots. Yellow ring right there, just tiny, barely cutting the edge of that rough line. 20% max is going to be our adjustment here for the shot. And then we hit it, and it's going to come in nicely. It's going to roll, and it's going to be ever so close. So next time I'm going to go with 1.5 backspin and 1 bar of left spin and see how that one works. Hole number 8, par 4. And I'm going to show you what happens when you clip the rough on the drive, and then I'm going to show you one drive where you don't clip the rough. So on this first attempt here, I'm going to show you what a drive looks like when you play it correctly. So you do have a headwind here, so just remember you have that compressed ball guide when playing this shot. So we got blue ring right there on the rough line. We're going to make our adjustment. We're playing this one at plus 10% for the downhill. We're going with 1/2 a ball of right curl. And we end up going with a little bit more right curl on this shot. We do hit great, unfortunately, but we're still going to be okay here on this shot, as you can see. We're going to roll up the fairway to a nice little location, and that right there is going to leave us a min-range long iron. So this is the drive that I clip the rough on. As you can see, you know, we start our shot a little bit farther back and down the rough line, so I definitely would suggest not doing that. And we also started with our orange ring at the rough line. So the angle of this shot is just a little bit too severe to get the distance on the shot. We make our adjustment here, and as you're going to see, you know, it's going to come in like the first drive, but it's just coming in much farther back and down that rough line. Even with only a 1/2 a ball of curl, it's not going to be enough distance to get over the rough. And as you see, we clip and we roll out. But thankfully, even if you do that, your shot's really not over yet, because you do have a chance to still go with the rough bump with a long iron instead of a min long iron though. Now you're looking at more of a mid long iron. So it's important to always find your max and your min and then kind of figure out what you're going to play here. And we played right about 40% here on this shot. So we put our top spin here, a little bit of left spin just to straighten out our ball guide, and we want our ball guide just going to the edge of the hole with a level 8. We make our adjustment here. This was 40%. And we did play 10% elevation since we are so far back in the fairway. If you're farther up in the fairway, then you're playing closer to the 0% elevation. But when you're farther back in the fairway, like when you clip the rough, then you're going to play 10% on the elevation. And we sink it. So just shows you if you clip the rough from the drive, you still have a chance to drop the shot, and it is not complete loss. All right, last hole, hole number 9, par 5. I'm going to play this one safe, so I'll be playing this one with the quarterback and then the big dog option. You can also play this shot with the rock or a cataclysm for your second shot if you have a cataclysm leveled up enough to be better than your big dog. So here we go with the quarterback and berserker ball. We're playing with backspin and right spin. And the way we're going to play this shot is we're going to pull our shot into overpower with the red ring right there at the edge of the rough line. And then we're going to, from that spot, we're going to make our adjustment for the wind. So we'll go back 5, and then we'll make the rest of our adjustment for our plus 10% elevation change there. Half a ball of curl. We hit great, but you know, great is okay on this shot. This is a very great proof shot. I would like to be a little bit farther up there on that shot, but even at 298, we still have a good chance to get to the green in our second shot. With the big dog here now, we're going to go with a little bit more topspin than we would normally go if we were closer up to the edge on that drive. So we're going to go with about 5 topspin and right spin. We're going to push our ball guide up to where we want the ball to land. As you see, we're about 4 rings up. We'll make our adjustment for the wind. We're playing this one at 0% elevation. And now we're going to adjust up, basically up into max. And we're going to have to overpower this shot some, as you can see. So it's about 3 rings overpower on this shot with 5 topspin. And as you see, it clears with plenty of distance. And it's got plenty of roll right here. We just wanted to make sure we got this one down. So we give it a little bit extra boost just to make sure we got all the way to the bottom of that green. And that's going to be an easy putt for the eagle. All right, so this is what it looks like if your drive gets up to the front edge of that line. Look at all that room we have. So we can get a little bit more cute now with this shot. So we start out with about 3.5 topspin and then right spin. And you know what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this one just over the edge of that green and let it hopefully roll down to the hole. We make our adjustment here for the wind at plus 10% or plus 0%, and then we're going to push up 1.5 rings here, and we are going to adjust our spin just a little bit. We still ended up at about 3.5 topspin there, and we hit this one perfect. This one's going to bounce nicely, and as you're going to see, it's got the perfect speed on this roll to get up and onto the green and then give us a chance to roll down to the hole for the possible albatross. And this is not going to be a hole where you see a lot of albatrosses drop, so just giving yourself a chance is definitely a positive thing. Appreciate y'all being here for this playthrough for the 3rd anniversary tournament. Hopefully you learned maybe a thing or two. And if only you improved yourself by maybe 1 or 2 strokes, then it's definitely a success, and happy to have done it. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day, and God bless.